Hey, just a little update on what we're doing on the trailer. I was looking at the gate and decided I'm gonna have to make the gate a little bit bigger. So I went when I was looking for angle iron. You can see I have an angle iron here that's just 6 foot long, 2-inch angle iron. I called one place in town here. I forget exactly what the name is, but I was talking to him about getting some of this cold rolled mesh here, and they didn't have it on hand, had to get a quote. And I asked him, it's like, okay, what's your price on a 2-inch angle iron, 6 feet long, 3/16 thick? And she come back and said it was a 6 foot piece was $300. A 20-foot piece was $250. So I went up to Lowe's, got this piece right here with my being military discount. I paid less than $30, and this place that sells metal stuff wanted $300 for that same piece. So you got to check around. So what I'm going to do is, you can see here, I'm gonna weld this gate where it's a little bit longer. I'm gonna have to take it, and right here where it's cut down and bent up so it matches the gate, I'm gonna extend that piece of that gate out right over here, and then put a mesh on there, and I'll have to weld a piece in between here and another one up here between here. I do have a piece of metal that I got that I'm gonna put on right here. So I have a nice, good, solid piece. This one here, I think I talked about before, because this is higher than the rest, I'm gonna have to cut this here and here, weld that down a little bit lower, and I'll put the other piece on there. Because I don't have any way to hold the gate up if I have a big gap on there. So that's where I'm at now. So that's one thing I'm gonna be working on today, is trying to get the gate a little bit wider, and then I'll start working on another piece. So let me get working on that gate, and I'll come back and show you what it looks like on that. Well, I'm back on the trailer. Took a little detour. It's a little bit warm this afternoon. I mowed both yards today and changed the plugs on our new Toyota. It's 2004 Toyota. I was going to record that video on it, but ended up losing most of the video. I had just a little bit at the end, so probably not going to post anything there because I don't feel like taking it all apart, but it was fairly easy. So anyway, you can see on this old gate right here, this is back at an angle. So I've marked out that angle on the new angle iron. I'm going to cut that, and then I've also taken and marked down here. I don't know if you can see little marks right here, and right here. So this one corresponds where this starts, and this one corresponds to down here, and then this is the length I need to cut off. So I'm going to cut off all this, and not a lot, but I'm not going to have you watch me cutting it. It's kind of loud and noisy, and I'll show you what it looks like when I get the first piece cut here. You can see down here I've got that angle cut that matches the one that's on the gate down here, and then I'm going to take and match this one down here. As you can see in my shadow, I got my earmuffs on and gloves on when I'm working on this, so you gotta have the sound. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this down at an angle down here. Here's the bend point, and here's where the other one is. So I'm going to cut this here at an angle down here so that I can bend that, and then I'll trim the rest of this off when I get to the length, so I don't have to try and guess and cut it and then have to cut it again. So I'll stop this video and I'll start another one when I get this cut. Hey, just to show you what I got going on here, this is the blade I'm using. It's a Lennox Diamond blade, and it seems to cut really well. So here's what I've got cut so far. I've got that cut out. I've got this cut out. It's pretty sharp here, so I'm not going to touch it with my bare hands because you can see there's probably a lot of little ridges there that pretty sharp in cutting on. So what I'll do is I'll put the other grinding wheel on. I'll put this wheel on here, and then I'll clean up that so I have that, and then I can line that up, and then I'll heat this a little bit here and then try and bend this up to match the same angle, and then I'll trim it to length. Okay, what I've done here is I've got this clamped down to the trailer. There's a bar right there so I can clamp it to it. And this time I actually measured from the far end down here to where it bends there, so I get the same piece, the same spot. So I clamped this piece of angle iron on here, and then I clamped it twice to make sure it doesn't move. And now I'm going to see, I tried moving a little bit, and it seemed like I'm not going to have to heat it. I can bend it. It's bending up. You can see it's already bent. Now I just got to get the right angle to see if I got the right angle on that, so that I can get it to where it needs to be. So now I just got to do a little checking on the angles, see if I got it, and once I get that, then I'll have it all ready, and then I can start getting it trimmed off to where it needs to be. Well, I have it cut off now. I used the cut off. I got to cut. I'm going to have to, after cutting it down, I'm going to have to grind a little bit. But here's the extra piece. I wonder if I can go back to that place that wanted to charge me $300 the whole piece and sell this back to them for 50 bucks. Anyway, I'll straighten that up, and then we'll see how close it matches the other one. And then now I just have to get some pieces. Get some pieces that'll go between here and the new piece. Make sure that's all lined up where it needs to go, and we'll get that piece welded on. I'll probably put a couple of supports in the middle just to have them there, because I'm not sure what I'm going to be able to put on there. I don't know if I'll be able to get that thick of material. Well, here's the piece. I'm going to line this up down here at this end so that it's even there. Then I'm going to come down here to this end, and we'll line this up and see. That looks pretty darn close to where it needs to be. I may have to trim a little bit off of this end here, but that's kind of what I was planning, just have a little bit there to trim. It's easier to trim it than it is to put it back on. Now when I cut this off, I didn't cut all the way down, so there's a little bit of a ridge here. So I'll take the new piece and I'll line it up right there, and then that'll give me a little joint that I can fill this in with the weld. So that's where I'm at now. I think while I've got the cut off disc here pre-end, I'm going to go ahead and cut this hinge off and that hinge off. They're not needed, so I think I'll do it just to clean it up. And then I got to find some crossbars to weld on there. All right, now I got those old hinges all cut off, ground down smooth. And now the next step I need to do is come down here, because what I'm going to do is, as this is flipped over on the other side, I need to have the grating gone, so this will sit down flush with this. So what I need to do then is cut off about 3/4 of an inch of the grating. So I marked a little soapstone line here. So I'll cut all this grating right here, and what I'm planning on doing is I'll re-weld that back down to here, but I'm probably going to put another piece somewhere in there to reinforce this a little bit. I have another longer piece. I'm going to do that. So that's what I'm going to do next. I'm going to cut all those back, and then I'll flip it over, and we'll see how it fits a little bit better. And I do still have these two to cut out yet. So I'll be doing that next, and then we'll start looking at putting it back together now. Well, I got it cut back all the way along here there, so it should be back far enough. These are pretty sharp edges, so you definitely don't want to do that without any gloves on. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip this over and see how it lines up, make sure that it'll going to fit flush. So let me pause the video and I'll come back in just a second. Well, you keep seeing my glove because I can't work the phone with the glove on. So now that I took the grating off. It looks like they're going to fit really nice and tight. I'm going to have to do some work down here to get that so flush. That might have to get changed and re-welded. This definitely is going to have to. That's too big of a gap. But this one looks like it's pretty good, even though it is on top of this other one. So what I may end up have to do is just to fill this gap in, just kind of re-weld this back piece here. So that's kind of where I'm at now. It's middle of the afternoon now, as you can see where the sun is up here pretty high still, and it's getting kind of warm. It's supposed to be in the 90s today, and I've been outside pretty much between the mowing and both yards and doing the plugs on the other car and then working on this. I think it's about time to get in out of the heat, so I'm going to end this for today, and I'll pick up when I get the next part going, when I'm actually welding the gate back together.